So moving on, yesterday we saw that if we have a project where we created a standard directory structure, and along with it we also need a file called pom.xml, which is actually the configuration file for Maven. So what exactly is POM? As I said, POM stands for Project Object Model, and this is the fundamental unit, or this is the configuration file using which we will be telling all the details about a project. And every project should and must have at least one file called pom.xml. And again, name of the file is pom, whereas the type of the file is XML. So that's why we call it as pom.xml. So generally, if you take any project, and every project in Maven should and at least have on pom.xml, and which has all the details about your project. Okay, so that way, what and all details you will be giving in the pom.xml. You will be giving the details about what is the GAV of the project. GAV is nothing but the group ID, artifact ID, and the version using which you will be able to uniquely identify the project. And then if you want to specify the location of where your source code is available under your directory, then it will be specified here. And then in case if you have any other dependencies of your project, you will be listing that. And other than that, suppose if you want Maven to use some particular plugin, then you will also specify what plugin it has to use. So like this, specific to the project, any other details that you want to specify, it has to be given into the pom.xml. Okay, and if you look at it now, whatever that we have used yesterday, it is a standard template where it is a XML file, and whatever that you're going to write will be in the Angular bracket. So you can call each one of them as a tag, and a value for a tag in an XML file will be opening a Angular bracket, you give a value, and then you close it by giving a slash and the same Angular bracket with the same name of a tag. So like this, you will be defining a tag, closing a tag, and the value of it you will be giving it within. And all the other structure that you're going to follow, you'll be giving it in the same way. And the pom.xml always has to begin with a tag called project. So you don't have to worry about this. This is a standard way of putting an XML file. But even if you don't have all those things, if you just say project and end it with the Angular bracket, it is going to consider it as good. So XML file that you have, which is treated as pom.xml, should always begin with project tag and close with project tag. And any information that you want to give for that project should be within this. Okay, so remember, you should open a project and end a tag called project. And in that, the default thing what we have to give, the first step is to give the GAV, where we will be giving the group ID, artifact ID, and the version. So if you remember yesterday, while I was creating this template, I gave these three values. So using these three values only, Maven will be able to identify our project uniquely. Okay, and in that we also have one more tag called packaging, which is going to tell what is the type of package that you're going to create. That is, what is the output type, whether jar or a var, it is going to specify it here. And by default, since we have not specified anything, it is going to automatically create a template in which the packaging will be jar. And the naming convention of the package will always be the artifact ID hyphen the version ID dot the type of the file. So this is how you're going to create the content, and the bare minimum requirement of a pom.xml is this. Whereas whatever you see others are the standard, and what exactly it is, we will go through it a little later. But if you see now, without specifying anything else, where we have specified only the GAV of the project, and by using the standard directory structure and following the Maven's lifecycle, we were able to do the project or the build of the project where Maven is smart enough to understand where is the directory structure under which the files are available, how many files are available, which one to compile, and then where should we put the output, right? Which jar file or what type of output it has to create. All those things will be knowing by itself, where if you try to follow the standard. But in reality, it is not always that we will be working on the default workflow of Maven. So that is when, if you have a requirement where you would like to do some modification for the Maven's workflow and you want to do something in addition to what it is going to do, then in Maven, sorry, yeah, so whenever you're creating a project, every project should have one unique ID. That's what yesterday I was talking about GAV. So every project should have a GAV, wherein we created a standard template by using a command called archetype generate. And in that, when we gave the value, Maven helped us to create this file automatically. But if we have to create a file manually, then remember, for every project, you should have a GAV. Okay, and whatever the other details that you have to write, I'll let you know how to write. But the minimum thing that is needed in a pom.xml file is, first you should have a angular bracket with a tag called project, and all the values should be inside it. And then the next values that you should have is the GAV and the corresponding packaging type. So these are the default tags that you're going to give. And by giving this and following the standard directory structure and the Maven's lifecycle, we were able to create the build of the project yesterday without telling anything to Maven, right? Because if I just say Maven compile, it was able to do the compilation of all the files, and only if it has changed it, it was doing it. Same time, it knew what files it has to pick for testing and how to run it. And at the same time, it created the package, whatever that we have specified. So like that, if you follow this directory structure, the pom.xml sample template, and the default lifecycle, Maven can help us to build a project. But as I was saying, if there is a requirement where if we want to do something in addition to what Maven is doing, then what is that we have to do? So that is how all those kind of details that specifically that we want to give to Maven has to be given in a pom.xml, which is specific to a project, because every project should and must have at least one pom.xml. So that way, if you want Maven to behave anywhere different